Hi everybody and welcome to another speed paint video. So for this video I am doing a 3 marker inspired illustration and yeah. So at the very beginning here I'm just picking the random colors. The first one is Prismacolor PM131 Deco Yellow. The second is Copic Ciao C1 Cool Gray number 1. The third is Copic Ciao G99 and Olive. So this is the set and here I go. So at the very beginning of the process, you always want to test your colors out. The first question I had immediately was which one blends easier. So I realized that the yellow and the gray blend pretty nicely, but if I tried to blend the olive to the Deco Yellow or the cool gray, it was very, very difficult. So that was kind of a learning tool that I got from sketching and doing this kind of like a warm-up process. After that, after I played around with the colors a little bit, I'm now like just sketching and kind of figuring out what should I draw. So the first thing that came to mind when I saw these colors were basically plants or maybe succulents, and succulents popped into my head first because my mom actually loves succulents. She has her own succulent garden and they're basically spread across all throughout the house and outside. And so as I looked out my window, I basically saw a wonderful array of plants that I could basically copy and try to draw quickly. And these drawings are not supposed to be perfect. They're supposed to be messy and loose. So that's kind of what I did. Kind of like to figure out, like, if I were to draw plants, what should I do? How should I feel when I draw these things? And so once I got the shape down, I started playing around with some colors. And I noticed that with succulents, there's usually the edging of the leaves tend to be kind of yellow, and the body of it tends to be like a nice green. So I tried to use that primarily throughout all of these illustrations or sketches to see what they look like. And then at the end I added cool gray. Obviously though, that didn't work. You could barely see it. And as another test, I finally thought, you know what? Let's test the green on top of the other two colors as they're mixed together. And basically that's what I got for the tree in the corner. At this point, I'm just testing around different pens that I feel like I want to use. In the beginning, I used a Copic fine liner or something. That one was kind of too bright, not my thing. Then I took a Prismacolor brush pen. Still not it. And then I wrote down in black, and I was like, that's the closest one I could think of. But then finally I pulled out a Stabilo brown pen. They don't have like colored names on it, and it was the best option. Once I played around with all of my mediums a little bit, now I kind of like figuring out what the heck I'm drawing. And for some reason the first thing that popped in my head when I saw these colors after all the plants was kind of like a snake. Because when I was younger, when I was little, someone brought this huge yellow and white anaconda to school. And so when I saw these colors, I thought, you know what, I can totally draw that anaconda. So I'm playing around with the idea of having a person in the middle with the plants in the background. And I chose this because the green is too strong. It's really hard to blend, so I thought let's have a just strong hue either in the back or consuming the character on top of the character, while the blended parts are primarily the grays and the yellows. So that's kind of what I did. I have these 3 sketches in the end, but the one I chose was the first one. So to practice a little bit more on the first one, I looked at some references on how to draw an anaconda or a snake, and this is what I've got. So once I got the final design down, I finally took out a Strathmore Bristol smooth piece of paper and cut it up to a size of 4x6. This size is basically the size of a postcard, and I use this type of paper because it holds marker and ink pretty well and fairly well. So if I added a lot on top of each other and I wanted to blend, it would bleed on the other side, but it wouldn't bleed onto the table. So It's a really great piece of paper, and I primarily use this for commissions because at the end of it, the physical commission that I'm giving to the buyer has a pretty nice solid piece of paper, and it feels kind of like a mini poster. With the pencil that I'm using, it's nothing special at all. It's a normal piece of like a normal pencil. I don't really have a preference. I've never really had one, so if you've ever asked me in the future what's the best pencil, I will literally tell you any pencil's great, and I wouldn't really care. So I have no help there, so sorry. Now, if you're noticing, as I'm sketching the snake, I'm putting some zigzags all across the snake. It helps me apply a little bit of dimensions to the body of the snake. It's kind of like as though I am creating it or drawing it as like a big slinky. So I know which one is forward, which one is back, which one is in the front, which one is behind the character. It's just more of a visual assistance, and so it gets erased later on, but during the sketching process I leave it there to help me understand the dimensions of the snake and where it sits on the character. Now, one of my favorite parts about this character is the thighs, the legs. It's super thick, and it's just wonderful. This character is overall kind of fun because she has thick arms, a small waist, and thick thighs. So she's very anatomically incorrect, mostly, but it's just a fun body type, and I hope you like it too. This is one of my favorite illustrations thus far, and I haven't really been drawing traditionally, so creating something that I actually super enjoy out of the blue like this, and it's also a challenge, it has been really fun, so I really do hope you enjoy this video. Now, throughout this process right now, I'm using the Stabilo brown pen to outline the character. I erased most of the lines, leaving just a faint layer of what was left behind from the pencil. So it could be my guide on what to do for the line art. Now, the big difference about this challenge is that in this challenge, I incorporated other markers. Now, I'm using this EOOO, the pale fruit pink, as the base layer, and then for the second layer of shadow, it would be the YROO powder pink. I like to use Copic Ciao or Copic markers for skin tones because they blend really well, and if you're a beginner artist and you want to get into alcohol-based markers, Copic Ciao or Copic markers for skin tones are wonderful. Now, my favorite marker is what you just saw. It is the mauve shadow. It's just a fancy word, mauve or mauve. I have no idea what it actually is, but I love using it because it adds a wonderful layer of kind of like a cool gradient into the shade area. It somewhat lightens the supposedly darkest part of the body, and it adds this level of dimension that it's hard for me to explain. Once again, I'm not an educated artist. I am self-taught, so there are things that I do that I just don't have the right words to say to help if you have ever questions for. But basically, whenever I use this color, mauve shadow, I usually keep an open space in kind of like in the darkest parts of the object or the body part, so that if I apply the mauve shadow, you can definitely tell that, oh, there's purple or a purplish or indigo hue, I don't know what it's called, placed in that area. And it's going to be intense in the beginning, but then it cools off a little bit and lightens up. Now, after all of those layering, I add the blush, which is the marker that you just saw. And once I have all of those layers down, I buff everything together with the base layer. And that's basically my process when I color in the skin. It's super simple, and coloring the skin is probably my most favorite part of any traditional illustration, because once the skin is down, there's so much life to the character. Now, at this point, I'm coloring in the hair. I chose the color of the hair to be gray and the Deco yellow because they're the easiest ones to blend together. If I used the green, it would be too intense and really hard to blend. So the tool that I took from the very beginning of the video, very beginning of the process, I applied it into the illustration. So that's why, once again, it's really important to test your medium, to test your markers, your colors, and to see which one blends easily together, which one works well with each other, to help you create an illustration that is overall really kind of like they work together in the end. Now, honestly, there's so many things about this illustration that I'm just so happy about, but I'm really just like, I'm happy with the hair, I'm happy with the body, I'm happy with so many things, which is kind of rare, but one of the biggest things that I'm also really happy about is the snake. I rarely draw animals, and snakes are generally quite easy, but this one looks like real anaconda snake that I've seen when I was growing up, and having it kind of like remind me of my childhood, I feel pretty like I accomplished something, and I did well. Now, to really contrast against the character, once again, back to the illustration, I chose to use the olive color as kind of like the background. And using the brown Stabilo pen, I'm just adding a little bit more texture to it so it looks more like leaves, and it's overall coming together really well. Now, I feel like there was something still missing, so I used the Jelly Roll Sakura pen and outlined the character in white. And you're going to see in this process how this simple outlining basically makes the character pop out even more, and it basically completed the entire illustration. And you're going to see, once the highlight and the eyes are in, the sparkle, now there's real life in the character. And once that happened, I was done. I was super happy with the end process. And it's just wonderful. Once again, it's very rare for me to like something this much, and it's so nice. I hope you guys like it too. Doing a 3-marker challenge is always really scary, but you know what? This was fun, and I want to do another one soon. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So, bye!